I'm by myself in the studio today, so I hope this works. But anyhow, thank you for joining me, and hopefully you find these informative and as a support. The whole reason we designed the question and answer is for your support for you guys when you get stuck on projects, and I'm glad I'm here for that. We're going to be reading some Facebook submissions and the forum, the Broadway Upholstery forum, and also some YouTube comments and questions. And as usual, I'm always surprised that some people we don't know everything that we do. Not everybody is aware that we have a Broadway Upholstery forum on Facebook. So I really would encourage you to go on there, especially if you get stuck on projects, and we all get stuck. And I'm going to be reading a recent one. I hope that did you get Denise's on the Facebook, Patrick? That was right before I came.
Yes, I did. And she has a settee.
Yeah, so Patrick is not in the studio, but I can talk to Patrick too. So just to let you know, she has a settee. That's going to be an interesting answer to her dilemma. But anyhow, before I get to that, we're not sure. You guys probably go on your YouTube now to tell us, are we at 17,000? Because I asked Patrick and he's not sure. But I think we must be.
Yes, we are. It says it right underneath here.
Where?
Look, right underneath your video, you should see it.
Okay.
17.
So, great. That's fantastic. So we're proud of that. Thank you for everybody. We tried to get it last week during the live show, but that didn't work out so well. So as usual, now I can read. You're going to read the comments for me, Patrick, for people, or how are you going to do that?
I sent them to you. Well, yeah. You mean the live comments?
Will you handle that?
Sure.
Okay. So
unless you see it, you can always answer it.
I think before I start, I wanted to mention a couple of things. The shop is getting full because, this is a big problem. People are good about paying me, but right now I've got a lot of finished projects at the shop, and it's getting to the point where I can't move. Maybe I can hear from you guys, especially guys that own shops. There's nothing I can do about it. There's circumstances that the customer has that she just can't pick them up or take delivery, so that they're at the shop, they're getting in the way. It's like gone on like a month, and I have other things in storage, so this is a problem you guys should be aware of. Even if you take deposits, and on the finished projects that I have, I'm paid in full, but there is a problem with having furniture just sitting around. Things can happen. Even though I have all the finished furniture in a section by itself and covered. So if you guys, any suggestions for you guys out there, I think I've done everything. I've taken deposits, I've taken payment in full, and now I'm just, it's just that people's life circumstances seem to be, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you can imagine today, life circumstances just get in the way of people just getting things done, and this is a real problem for us now. So that's okay though. We'll overcome that. And I guess I'm going to get right into. Oh, I wanted to mention. I had a call. What I try to do with people on the phone, and we're going to hear between Michaela and I, we're going to have that segment that everybody likes, where we're going to talk about some recent estimates that came in. But weeding out is really important before, you waste a lot of time. And I had something happen over the weekend that I just wanted to relate to you. So I had a very nice woman. She emailed us first, and she said that she had a sectional sofa that she can't even sit on it without getting a bad back. So we responded in an email. It sounded like she was really, like money was no object type thing, which you should never assume anything either way. And in this case, she just kind of slid under the radar with, the magic numbers. We really didn't give her. I don't think we did. Did we, Michaela? Did we give her estimates before she came? An idea, ballpark estimates about?
We gave her the estimate for the labor. I'm pretty sure for the cushions, but I don't know about if we gave her a sample information of what it would be versus foam versus
I don't think we
spring
did.
down.
Because they came down, the whole family, and she was from another state, you guys, so she traveled. I really felt bad. She came down, and then she has this sofa that she bought. I'm not going to tell you the manufacturer. I'm just not going to get into that, but you can imagine it was not a high-end manufacturer. And, they're a working class family like myself. And, they paid $3,000 for the sectional, which to them and to me is a lot of money. But really, in the furniture business, that is not a lot of money for a sectional. For a good sectional coil springs, you're going to pay about, up to $10,000. So when I heard that, I felt, and then, the problem is it doesn't have coil springs. It probably has zigzag springs, and the foam that they put on it, it's just not good. So she's not imagining it, but the only solution for her, and it would have worked, would be a spring and down cushion in the seats. And I've done this before. I've changed it out. People are willing to put a little bit more money into a sofa. They can upgrade it. But this upgrade was like $500 a cushion. It was $2,500 for just the seat cushions. It's almost what she paid for it. So I didn't blame her one bit, but that was the only solution. She was trying to get out of me another solution, but that is the solution for what she had. So she has to introduce springs. And Denise, I'm going to get to the problem that Denise has with an unusual spring, but she had to introduce springs into this sectional in order for she could sit down. So I said, well, why don't you just do one? And I never do this usually. I was trying to help her, because I felt bad. I said, why don't you just do one and you sit in that one spot? But that didn't seem to go over too big because there's 3 other people in the family. So she walked. She didn't do anything, but I'm glad she didn't do anything. I'm glad I didn't try to convince her that my foam is better than the foam that was in there, because I knew that would not be the way to go, and she would not be happy, and I wouldn't want her to spend more money. So it was better that she left without spending any more money. But it wasn't good that she traveled all that way instead of me trying to let her know what the cost was going to be. But anyhow, I just thought I'd relay that to you. But these are the challenges we face as upholsterers. We're trying to put lipstick on a pig sometimes with some of this new furniture. It can work. I think that if she was willing to spend the money, if she could afford it, she would have had something that she would have been happy with, and she probably would have got 10 years out of it. And would she have been able to upholster it at that point? Maybe not. I would have told her that. Maybe this is not a piece that can be reupholstered well. Anyhow, so that's one story. I got 1,000 stories like that. But let's get going on some contemporary stuff, which is I'm going to get going. Do you want to do the estimates first, Mikhail, or do you want? Usually, I do the Facebook.
Take care of the Facebook and the YouTube first, but say welcome back to Erica. She's back after a long break.
Hi, Erica.
That's cool.
She was, she's not been around. So
she said she's determined to do projects again. So
yeah,
we'd like to hear it.
It's practice that makes you good, you guys, right? I wanted to mention, is Daphne on, because she's like a rocket ship. She's new to this industry, and she's like really learning a lot and doing a lot. I can't believe how prolific she is. And
she is on, and I got her submission.
Oh, good. Okay, so let's do. You have Facebook part 2 here, Patrick. First.
Yes, that was her. That was just her one because she just submitted.
Well, I'll start with the regular Facebook first, and this is from Ann Irwin. We haven't heard from her in a while, I don't think. Is ply grip curvies ever used with vinyl? It's the only thing you can use with vinyl or Naugahyde to close it up if you're not going to use tacks. So there's 2 ways to close vinyl or Naugahyde leather up that I would use. I know that there's a 3rd way that I wouldn't recommend. The 2 ways that I would be decorative tacks or the ply grip. Now, some people on the vinyl, you guys know the difference between ply grip and curvies. I don't usually like using the curvies. Curvies sounds like it would be easier to use than ply grip. Ply grip's the easier one. It's the more flexible one. So I use that on most of my fabrics. Now, however, on leather, you may have to go to the curvies, the heavier one. That's the only time I would use that, is to close up a heavier leather. On a vinyl, you're probably going to go with the ply grip. So the best thing to do is to try this out too yourself. And we have a really good ply grip tutorial up, which I'm very proud of that we showed that, because we show the little nuances with that, right?
Yeah, that was a recent video too.
So Ann should check that out, because ply grip is very sharp. You can actually cut yourself with the ply grip if you grab hold of the edge. But I show ways of kind of desensitizing that. So you should check that out if that's the word. Sorry. So she's actually, I'm just gonna 23 post reach. What's that mean? I think that's okay. That's it. Okay, and I have Denise's. I hope I answered her question. But I think the best thing is when we've done a video, we just refer people to the video, Patrick. That's probably the best thing, right?
Yeah, it should be easy to find that ply
Yeah.
grip one. That was like the last video I think we did, or maybe 2 videos ago.
Yeah. So by the way, somebody was asking, I'm not sure if you have it in here, about the club chair, the A to Z club chair.
Yeah, that someone just asked when the next part's going up, and next week
Right,
it was
okay.
going up.
So we've got a lot in the can, as they say, right, Patrick?
Yeah, like the other day we did a video on almost every single supply we offer. So
It's kind of bored.
But
Some people will be bored by that, but I think for beginners, they might appreciate some of the tips I give and the usages for different materials that we use in upholstery. And I was thinking the other day, we've only scratched the surface with what the knowledge bases that we have, Patrick. I don't know if you're aware of that. I get tired just thinking about it, but I mean, we have 400 videos, Patrick. We haven't counted them yet.
4 million, it feels like at this point.
Well, it's a lot, but really, we've only scratched. We do mostly traditional furniture, I think, on there. We've done some modern. The club chair is a modern chair, but there's a lot of modern techniques that we haven't shown. We haven't gotten around to. One of the things would be, I'd love to be able to build a piece of furniture from the ground up to show people how that's done. It's especially relevant to Denise's comment, her problem here. If you're going to design a piece of furniture, what are you designing it for, Denise? Are you designing it for looks, aesthetics only, or are you designing it for comfort, or are you designing it for both? Mid-century sometimes fits both. That's hard to do, by the way. And you ask any carpenter, any furniture maker, any fine furniture maker, they'll tell you that a chair is the hardest thing to do, to make, because of the angles and because the human form is really hard to sit. So let's get to Denise's. I'm going to show this. You don't have that up there, do you, Patrick?
No, I wish I could do that.
So how does that look? Can you see that, Denise's?
Go a little closer.
Can you see that? That's Denise's settee. So let's
a little bit better.
Let's read what she says. She says, I redid a settee. However, the seat was very uncomfortable, so I am redoing it. I'm not sure what is the real issue. Second picture is of the original drop-in springs. Let's show that. If I can. Oh, well, I might not be able to. Maybe I can. Hold on, you guys. I'm not sure if I can get them up. Oh, there it is. Okay, so these are the original springs. Now notice, this is going to be related to the answer, but I want people to notice that these springs look more like an ice cream cone. They're not cylindrical like most springs are, because what has to happen with these springs that are attached to a wire is that by the time they get to the wire, they have to be small. They're only like an inch circumference or 2 inches. And they have to attach to that metal piece because they have to be small to do that. So you can't have a big spring. The problem with that is it doesn't offer the support, Denise, right? That spring, you're not getting the support in that particular shaped spring than you would in a number one, a regular spring, which like I said is cylindrical, right? So the other problem, the reason you might wonder, why do they do it in the first place? Why don't they, on a settee like this, why don't they just web the bottom and use regular springs? Well, because the drop-in spring system is ingenious in that you don't see anything on the bottom there of the sofa. You don't see a folded piece of webbing. Anything high off the ground, and East Lakes and Stickley do this too, so that you don't see. They want that bottom edge as clean. It's a good idea. They want it as clean as possible, right? Okay, Denise. you have a settee. And now I will congratulate Denise on one thing, that she's willing to take this apart because she's uncomfortable in it. I should read this. I haven't read it yet, but there's a lot to talk about that in here. And I just wanted to get this out. Settees are a very unusual piece of furniture. They're made flat. If you've noticed, if you go off to the side, you don't get much of an angle. They're not really worried about pitch, like a club chair. Like, let's bring my chair over that I'm working on here. So I have this channel back. You guys see this? But let me turn it. Look how far back that slants. And look at it, not only slants, it's got this 15 degree. We talked about this before. And the seats even, that's got the 12 to 15 degree. So it's got two angles to fit the human form. It's a nice looking chair, isn't it, you guys? I got to get this thing out of here. It's been here for too long. I got to finish it. But anyhow, if you notice on the settee, let's look at the settee again. Look how straight the seat is. Look how straight the back is. So this is a problem. It could be another reason why you're not feeling as cozy as you would on your club chair. So settees are they're in a category by themselves, I think, for these reasons. So, so she's willing. Let's read what she says. And I think the best upholsterers are the ones that are willing to tear their own work apart and start all over again. It's kind of like when they're writing the Torah. I don't know if you guys, Patrick and Mikhail probably don't know this, but those are handwritten for the temples, right? Each temple has a Torah or a set of Torahs. For all my Jewish friends out there, you could correct me as how many Torahs they have. It's pretty much the Old Testament, right? So they're writing and they're writing and they're writing. If they make a mistake on the last letter of a Torah, they rip it up and start all over again. Can you imagine? Denise reminds me of that. But I think it makes you a better upholsterer. You have to be the best critic. You have to critique, and that's what makes you good. The practice and doing one thing over again, and the staying power and all that. It really does. And Denise, you can see Denise's post, you guys, if you want. Go, if you haven't seen her, check her out on the forum to see some of the beautiful work that she's done. And you'll know one of the reasons is she's willing to put the time into it. If you've got the time, be willing to do that. So she's got another picture here of well, let's read it. Let's read it. I redid a settee. However, the seat was very uncomfortable, so I am redoing it. It's just like that. She's redoing it. She's not gonna feel bad for herself. She's not gonna say I spent a lot of money. She's just resigned herself. She's gonna do it, right? That's great. So I'm not sure what the real issue is. Second picture is, I think I touched upon what some of the issues are. Second pictures of the original drop-in springs, then my 8-way tied springs. She did a great job 8-way and tying. It's not that. It's not that. Is my spring height wrong, she says, or not enough springs? So let me address the seat, the spring height. Spring height has no way at all that you're tying the spring is going to make a difference in the spring height. What makes the spring height difference is between 1 and 5. A 1 being a 6 coil spring. This is just blows me away that they just don't say 6 coil spring, but they call it a number 1. Anything over 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's no way she could take what was in there and make it a different height. There's no way she could do that if she's following the principle of what you're doing is trying to get those springs so that they don't wobble one way or the other pretty much. And there's 8-way ties. Everyone thinks it's compression. They think they want to take the spring and go like this. That's not what it's all about. And if you've seen the spring tying videos, again, you'll know I touch upon that a lot. Everybody wants to take their hand and just compress the spring, but that's not what it's about. So it's not that. Is my spring height wrong? No. Or not enough springs. Okay. So I notice that when people use the drop-in seats, whether it be Stickley or the settee or Eastlake, they tend to go a little sparse. And I think they're almost forced to do that for some reason that I don't know. Why would they be forced to do that? Aha, probably because they can only do one way, right? With the drop-in unit with the springs, you're limited with that somehow. So that is a problem. You do want, on one of my ottoman that I offer online, the A to Z ottoman, Patrick, the kit, we chose 5 springs on that to make it easy to show people, to beginners, how to tie springs. Admittedly, that one probably could have used maybe 9 springs. So you might want to check that out if you guys, but for teaching purposes, we went to 5. So, 6 springs it probably could have taken instead of 5. So it could have added 1 spring just for better coverage. So you're looking for good coverage. If you have gaps in the spring, even a coil spring, then you're gonna have it's gonna be a problem. Let's see what else she did on here. When I sat on it, it seems like it sunk too low, and I could feel springs. That's another problem. But let's see what she used. I had rubberized horsehair, then cotton. Also, tried a 1-inch foam over the springs. I would recommend any advice. I think looking at the settee, the only advice, I don't have a problem with what she did. She didn't say she used burlap. I assume she had burlap, right? She left that out. Is Denise listening right now, Patrick?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen her in the chat.
So Denise, let us know. I'm sure you put burlap in there, but burlap is an essential component. She didn't say she did, but I'm sure she did. So the drop-in unit, I have no problem with her using. And then the 8-way tie looks pretty good to me. And then the burlap over that, and the edge roll all the way around, and then the rubberized horsehair anchored around. That's essential because it balances the seat off. And you notice that she's got a really flat seat. The look is really good, you guys.
Oh, there she is.
Huh?
There she is.
Hi, Denise. We're talking about your settee. I think if she went to maybe a 2-inch foam, she might have had a little bit a better success on that. I think that's all I would do. I wouldn't do anything more than that. Because if you look at the back, that back rail to the seat height, she could afford to go half that distance and still have it look aesthetically the way it's supposed to look. This is a long answer, Denise. You might want to rerun it. We were talking a lot about your springs that you have in there are ice cream cone shape. So they don't have the support that our regular springs have. So you might want to check out I've been talking about this for a while. So there's only one. There's another one in here that I want to show you. She did a great job with the 8-way tie. Don't be hard on yourself. Oh, and I see that she did go to the webbing there, I guess. I think Denise, is this after you took out the drop-in unit and then you went and then you did the webbing? I'm curious. I think that's what she did, which is fine. It's just a little.
She says, didn't use the drop-in unit, use coil springs, 2-inch foam on top of the springs.
These look like they're, the coverage on these. She looks pretty good on this. I think she might want to try a 2-inch piece of foam. That might make all the difference in the world. But keep in mind, settees they're not designed to sit like this chair here. They're not designed at all for that. So, there might be only a certain amount. There's only a certain amount that you can do on this because you really can't change the integrity of that flat seat. You don't want to do that. You don't want to overstuff it. And the back looks great. For most people, it would have been completely happy with this. But Denise, I still think that you did a good job and critiquing and this is how we learn, right? This is what we learn. Did you ever think, this brought up the subject of those ice cream cone shaped springs and how they don't have the support as the other ones do. The shape doesn't allow that. So we learned some things there. So let's see, what's the next one, Patrick? Let me just get on here. How do I get on?
You should be up to Daphna's one now. Then we can do the YouTube.
Okay, wait a minute. So would
She
that
says high
be, would
density
that be
foam.
part 2, Facebook part 2, right?
Yes, but Denise just followed up saying high density foam.
High density, definitely. And I usually on most everything that I use, it's the medium, you guys. I don't tend to 99% of what I do is the medium, ultra foam, high density. So Daphne, thank you again for being so prolific and posting a lot of your stuff. She says, I am making the right call. Am I making the right call and removing all the webbing on this wing chair? Question mark. This double welting repair makes me nervous, and the 20-year-old webbing is sagging a bit. So let me just show you this, you guys. So I'm not sure if she repaired that. So repairs are acceptable form of upholstering, you guys. You can do this. You can go over old webbing to repair something. That's fine. Especially if you think the springs are in good shape. But let me just read this. Am I making the right call? I'm removing all the webbing on this wing chair. So, yeah, well, now it looks like, I'm not sure if these are her, those are her twines, or she uncovered this and just to find that somebody had repaired it already. So at some point, you have to bite the bullet and be the person that restores something. That means that you have to do it all over again. Sometimes it's hard for me to see. 20-plus-year-old webbing is sagging. Now, remember what I told you guys about webbing that sags. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because webbing is designed to sag over years so that the springs don't pop through the top.
Let me just update you that she updated her question. She said, should I remove all the webbing on this wing chair, or can I remove the welting and the newer webbing? Leave the springs tied to the old webbing and then just put in new webbing to reinforce. She updated her question.
Without actually seeing it, I can't give a definitive answer. But Daphne, I would say that it depends on if you're doing it for yourself. I guess it does depend on that too. It's dependent on like with me, I charge a certain amount of money to do things. So if I looked at this, I would give the customer, this is what I would say to the customer, in my opinion, that, you can get another 20 years out of the seat. You don't have to do that right now. You can just repair it again. Or if you could pay a little extra money to get the whole thing done. So it does, for me, it comes down to money. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to this one, to be honest. So I think I'm going to leave you hanging there. maybe a better picture. I don't know.
Randy says, I would go with rubberized horsehair, cotton, foam, cotton, and then fabric.
What did Randy say? Say that again, Patrick.
You can see it right. Look in the chat. He says, I would go rubberized horsehair, rubberized hair, cotton, foam, cotton again, and then fabric.
Actually, Daphne, sorry, let's go to Randy. Sorry, you guys. Randy says, what? Where's Randy? Springs could also just be tied.
That was an older one. He said, I would go with rubberized. I think this is the order he means, like in this order. Rubberized hair, cotton, foam, cotton again, I guess, and then fabric.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, he forgot the burlap again, though. Everyone's forgetting the burlap, but I know people are doing the burlap, because the burlap is an essential part. A non-squeak burlap, by the way. You guys didn't know that, did you? That there's a squeak. There's a burlap that squeaks.
How does fabric squeak?
A burlap. It's nylon burlap squeaks when you sit on it. You could be the best upholsterer in the world and best hand tie spring in the world and everything else, and it looks beautiful. If it squeaks or creaks or cracks or makes any type of noise, it's always the perception is you didn't do a good job. And sometimes it's just the materials that you use. So guys have to be really careful. It's really funny how that works. That's why I don't like nylon. I do not like nylon as replacement to burlap. Burlap kind of works over the spring without squeaking. And also that's why I like the ruby twine, because that also doesn't slip and that doesn't squeak. The nylon twine can squeak also. So the best way to secure a spring actually is to hand tie it, but the clinchets work, and the clinchets do not squeak. The clinchets can be used no problem. But Randy just has a different formula for a fine seat. We used to have an upholsterer I used to listen to the upholsterers argue. One wanted it this way, the other one wanted it this way, and one upholsterer said, if it comes out the same and it doesn't squeak, then what difference does it make how I came about that, you know? But some people might say, well, it would last longer. Mine will last longer, or something like that. But it's like two chefs in the same kitchen, right, you guys? So Daphne, I wanted to catch up on her. She said now she's commenting live here. Yes, that's the inside. I need to retire the chair. I'm stripping. Or you guys can see this, right? They can all see this, right?
Yeah.
She
They're
says,
probably
so
all
can I
shaking their
add
heads
new
right
webbing
now.
on top of the old? Yes, you can. But sometimes you can see that bump from the, when you put the cambric on, sometimes it looks too heavy. So that could be a reason to change it out. And it's her chair. So she can, if being her chair, she can experiment because she's already retired. She can experiment on just repairing something to see what she thinks about it. And like Denise, hey, Daphne, you can always take it apart if you don't like it, right? I would start with the repair first because it's your chair. Now that I know it's her chair, I can give her the best advice and then see how that works. And I assume it doesn't have a skirt, so that if it has a skirt, there's no issue with the folded double webbing that you're going to have on the bottom. If there isn't a skirt, you have to be careful of that. You know what I mean? So let's go. Is that it with the Facebook, Patrick? I thought we had more on the Facebook. That's it?
No, that's it for now.
Okay,
Now the YouTube.
Now let's go to YouTube. So we have Jonathan. He's talking about the art of spitting tacks. This is one we did a few years ago, Patrick.
Yeah, you always seem to get comments on
When I
the
had all my
controversial.
teeth. I have nice front teeth, but I lost a couple. I lost a molar here. I used to spit tacks from my left cheek, and when you lose a molar, it's like the dentist was like, I was freaking out that I lost this molar, and the dentist, I was saying I need to save that molar. He says, just a molar. What are you worried about? What's the big deal? I said, you don't understand. I don't know where my tacks are. When you get that whole opening in your teeth, I know it sounds kind of gross, Patrick and Michaela, but you got the opening. You can't keep track of the tacks. So you don't know if the tacks are slipping through, and you don't want to swallow a tack. But you really, that was a time when I had all the teeth, Patrick. So he says, my dad upholstered all his life in spit tacks. Yeah.
There you go.
He never switched. It sounds like he never switched to the pneumatic staple guns, which saved my career. Those pneumatic staple guns saved my career. I couldn't have done what his dad did. Well, I guess you could get another tooth, false tooth, right, Patrick? That's what I would have had to do anyhow.
And gold teeth.
Yeah, like Jaws and James Bond, right? So Pauline, so this is kind of the culture of upholstery. I had a funny story to tell you guys. I did a local show. Chronicle came into a shop once, and I was showing them how to spit tacks. And I know I mentioned this before, but well, I don't have I don't have the regular hammer at the ready, but I was so fast that the person who was filming said stop, and they picked the hammer up, and they were looking at the bottom of the hammer. They were looking up at the top of the hammer, and she said, where are the tacks coming out? I said, she thought the tacks were coming out of the hammer somewhere. And because I was so fast, you have to be fast in order to make a living spitting tacks, let me tell you. And I said, well, they're not coming out of the hammer. They're coming out of my mouth. And so she was astounded by that. But so a younger upholsterer, and I won't tell you who later, the reason I brought this up, the culture, it's really important to understand the culture of upholstery, I think, to make you a better upholsterer. That's why I like to talk about this stuff. It's not to embarrass anybody. But this younger upholsterer had a problem with me. I don't know why. He was just, he had a problem. And he came home and he says, what's that all about? What? I never heard of anybody spitting tacks. I said, shame on you for not knowing your culture, and you're an upholsterer, So you don't have to spit tacks to understand spitting tacks. I wouldn't advise it. We don't advise anybody to spit tacks anymore. anymore. You don't have to. You can pin staple. You can have tacks at the ready. You have usually what we do now is we spread some 6-ounce tacks out on your board. Make sure they're about 2 inches away from one another, and you can pick them up with the magnetic end of the hammer. Get good at picking them up with the magnetic end of the hammer from the table, not from your mouth. And then you could do your pin tacking from there, or if you really get comfortable with the staple gun, you can pin staple, and I've shown you how to do that on some videos. So I hope that helps you guys. Any comments, Patrick, that you should pick up on, or comments? I mean,
just going back to Daphne's thing, she said no skirt on it.
So there's no skirt. So sometimes, Daphne, I'll give you a little tip. Sometimes what you can do is you can bring your instead of getting another fold over another folded piece of webbing, sometimes you can ride the webbing over on the side rail, on the side of the rail, and do your staple work without folding it, and then do that. That won't interfere too much with the overall look. You can do that as a repair. If you don't like that, you can take the old webbing off, tie the bottom of the springs, and then put your new webbing on, so you only have the one layer. So those are two suggestions. So Pauline on stuffing a cushion cheaply and effectively. She says, "Hello. How did you know what proportion dimensions to make your down feather insert? Thank you." I use the exact measurement of the cushion cover when I measure out down and feather cushions, because it tends to be a little bit overdone. So if you measure more than what that is, you might get into a problem with blowing out zippers and things like that. So you want to be careful. And then Janine, hello, Janine. Is Janine on now? She probably isn't, Patrick, because she's overseas, right?
Yeah, no, she's not on now.
She says, "Happy New Year, all." This is the Upholstery Show Happy New Year, which was last week, right? Or was it? Great
Yeah, it was last week.
Question and answer as usual. Love the quote segment. We're going to be getting to that in a little while. Can't wait for the second lot of online classes to come out on the French settee. Patrick, when is the second one coming out?
I think I said I have to look at the schedule that I made, but I have to catch up on it myself. I think it's next week or the week after that.
So we have, if you guys haven't subscribed and you're looking at this for the first time and you really you could test the waters with some of the online class. Well, you test the waters on YouTube. That doesn't cost you anything. But then if you really want to test the waters to see what the online classes are about, why are they different than the YouTube classes? I think most people, and Janine has really verbalized it quite well in the past, right, Patrick, that the online classes really do give you
she does
more information, much more information. And it's funny. I have a big mouth. I could talk forever on these YouTube videos, but it doesn't work for me on the YouTube. I need Jimmy, I need Michelle, I need not Bernice because she does her own thing, but I need that apprentice to be asking me the questions that when you get to a certain level in your career, sometimes you even forget. So you don't even say.
But yes, that's what I was saying. The second video's lesson 7 to 10. They come out January 24th.
Okay, January 24th.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going to get to Randy has a comment here on the Upholstery Show Live. Thanks for the quote segment and your thoughts. By the way, I think I owe Randy a thank you for the Christmas card we got from him, Patrick.
Yeah, it was very cool. We always seem to get cool stuff every year.
Thanks, Randy.
You guys are the best.
And Daphne sent us a Christmas card, and the well wishes that we get on here are great too, you guys. So thank you for all that. Thanks for the quote segment and your thoughts on markup. Always good to hear how someone else handles things. Please keep that up. How do you handle extra fabric? For example, you quote the customer 10 yards, but because it laid out better than you expected, you used only 9. Do you return the excess yard to the customer? How do you handle that? You told me I need 10 yards. I want a credit for the yard you did not use. Do you charge the customer for shipping the fabric? Yes. Under 5 yards, I usually charge them back. Over 5 yards, I cover shipping in most fabrics. We can't cover shipping anymore, Randy. It's very expensive unless you're dealing with somebody local to you out there. but shipping is like gone sky high. So we have to pass that on to our customer. As far as extra fabric, I think you're better off making arm caps or a throw pillow with that, and then just presenting the throw pillow and arm caps, saying, "Hey, a little extra." I mean, you keep yourself honest, and then do that extra little thing for them. That's what I do. I try to do little extras if I can. It's some of those little extras come in free pickup and delivery. Just being on time with the job, things like that. I'm telling you, I tell my family it's like having a small business is like having an infant, and you can't leave an infant alone too long. Something's gonna go wrong, so you need to have all of these. I know I'm getting off subject a little bit, but all of this is coming up even more and more now. I find myself, my customer service level, I really have to be on the ball. And if you've seen another YouTube video that we've done, we have a post-it system, a note system that we use to try to keep all of this, going. And sometimes I just give the fabric back. Usually I'm really good though, Randy, at my yardages. If anything, I get caught with not having enough. So, and that also is tied into being competitive in your pricing with the other people that down the street who might be overcharging on yardages. That never works in the long run, trust me. Because you can always, if somebody's overestimating 25% on the yardages, you can always beat them if you're a little bit more informed and a little bit more, if you're better at estimating yardage. Sorry, I feel like I'm just rattling on, and I don't mean to do that, you guys. I hope I'm not. Bleach Bomb says about the shellback. I just want to show you the little, see if I can get this. Oh, I don't know if I can, but Patrick's got a great thumbnail on this one. I don't know if you can see that, so small. You see that little thumbnail that he's got with the shell? See this one? Doesn't this look like a seashell? Michaela, don't you agree? I like calling these shellbacks rather than
yeah, I was thinking about using that for Jimmy's next class. I thought that was funny
but that's a good thumbnail, Patrick.
Because his next class is a shellback.
She says thanks for uploading this, and then Bree is I haven't heard from her in a while. Treasures of Upholstery, the Victorian sofa, 1840. She says, I have a couch. I just have no idea where to start. Well, you can go on the YouTube. You can go on online classes. Check out the online classes. Subscribe. I was about to say, you check out one class. I think, how much is one class, Patrick, on there?
50
bucks. And how much is it now for a subscription, for a yearly subscription?
Well, now we have a whole variety of subscriptions. So,
oh, really?
It depends on which one you get.
Oh, that's good.
We have just a Jimmy subscription,
oh,
which I think is going to be really popular.
Some people really like Jimmy. I think he's really, his star is just shooting across the sky.
Is he coming in next week?
I hope so. I keep forgetting to ask him. I saw him Saturday. He helped me out with something. Okay, I think, Patrick, that we're at the end of that section, the YouTube comments. I feel like there's more, but okay. So
sounds good. Let me get Michaela. You guys can do some of these
Michaela there?
Yeah.
So, Michaela, what's the first one? That Nancy?
Yeah, that's not really an estimate, but it's something that's pretty cool.
Do you want to read it?
Sure. Good afternoon, Kevin. Happy New Year. Actually, this one is an estimate.
Okay.
You upholstered 2 chairs for me last year, which looked terrific in my living room. Thank you again. Now I have a bedroom chair that needs fresh fabric. Below our photos, I will provide you with the fabric with a similar vertical stripe, which, stopping right there, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
The chair measures 34 inches at the tallest point and 30 inches at the widest. Are you still providing upholstery service? If so, how long will it take to reupholster this chair? What will be the charge? As with the chairs last year, I can drop this one off at your Arlington location, pick it up there when finished.
So
I'll start off by saying we don't allow the customer's own material anymore.
Right.
But how much would this cost?
So the labor on this chair, because if you notice that there are channels on the arms, you guys see this? There's channels on the arm. Isn't that interesting? So there's a lot of work on this thing. And it has a skirt. So I think we need to get at least $1,100 plus the yardage. Now, Randy, so when I look at a piece of furniture, I try to, I break it out a little bit. If you want to break it down, some people find it easier. If you look at this, it's 1 yard or 1.5 yard for the seat, 1 yard for the back. That's 2.5 yard and a half for the two arms. That's 3. That's 4. The skirt's another at least yard and a half. That's 5.5. And then your outsides, which is a yard and a half, 5.5, 6.5, 7. So I look at this and I say, okay, I think I'm going to need at least 7 yards. So what I do though is I'm going to say 8. Because why do I do that? Because I've nobody ever includes how big something is, and I'm not going to burden a customer with measuring the seat. I just have to kind of guess that that's an average to an oversized chair. That's where I'm trying to cover myself. No pun intended. But I'm going to go 8 yards. Once in a while, I get fooled either way. Sometimes I look at a chair, it looks like a side chair, but it's a chair and a half. So it's part of streamlining your estimates too. We don't know where this is going to go because she's already got her own fabric. She's going to have to buy our fabric and maybe use that for the fabric she has for something else. I don't know, but she is a customer. Occasionally on a small piece of furniture, I might make an exception if it's a customer that I've worked with before, is a good customer. I'll make the exception of COMs. But when I'm telling people, and I might as well tell you guys, especially Randy, people like Randy who are trying to make a living at this business, is that the fabrics are essential. The profit on the fabrics become essential to keep the shop open, pretty much. I mean, it's like going into a restaurant and bringing your own wine or something. You want to support the place you're eating at, so you buy their wine. It's the same thing. Things are getting, the labor market, even across the board, has been diminished. And so I have people that, help me, that sew for me. So, they're not as prolific as they used to be too. So I just, this is what we need to do. So you want to go to the next one?
What was the labor cost for that one again? Was that
1,108 yards of fabric. Now this next one, let's read this next one from the Josephine from France. Even though it's not an estimate, I want to talk about that. Can you read that?
Oh. Yep. All right. All right. Dear Mr. Kennedy, I hope this finds you well. Happy New Year. Greetings. I am a 20-year-old second-year college student studying upholstery at, this is probably pronounced wrong, but it's École Buelle in Paris, France. I am writing to inquire about the possibility of doing an internship at your upholstery studio this spring and summer. Born in Beverly, Massachusetts, I have dual US/France nationality and am fluent in both French and English. I have family in Massachusetts and would have help with accommodation. Please find attached my letter of motivation, my resume, and portfolio for your consideration. I look forward to hearing you. Sincerely, Josephine.
So
really cool, then.
It is. In a perfect world, I would love to just. My idea would be to have people coming in at like 6-month increments from all over. We had a Swedish intern. Remember, Patrick?
Yeah, I think you should take her up on this.
Really good. She was really good. It seems like similar situation where she was visiting and she was looking for a situation. But it's just I just don't have the time or the space anymore. It's just not what we do. It's a shame. It's going to be hard for me to tell her no. But maybe what we can do, Patrick, is throw this out here to our friends on in the Boston area, even friends on the Facebook, Patrick, to see maybe if somebody would like we could pass this on to somebody that we trust, like Daphne or Pam or Denise, somebody that we know that we can trust with this. I mean, because this is a trust relationship here too, Patrick, big time. So I have to be honest and say I couldn't do this. That's too bad. I just can't. I just don't the time restraints that we have. I just couldn't do it. But maybe we can find somebody that will throw this out, you guys. If you guys think that you want to help this student, she's just looking, I think, for a more experience. She's looking for just to keep herself engaged because you don't want to be 6 months without working on upholstery because you get rusty. She's just trying to, if she's at this school, this sounds like I think I've heard of this school in Paris, France, Patrick. So she's serious. And actually, what I found with my intern was it was a different situation back then. This was a few years ago, but she was a really good asset. But it's quite a responsibility. So why don't you guys think about it and get back to me if you might be interested in something like this?
Yeah, she actually goes a little further into what she was looking for into one of in the first attachment. She says, I'm seeking a 3-month internship for the months of May, June, and July in your upholstery workshop. Given the skills and experience outlined in my attached resume, I believe I will be a worthy asset to your team. I am contacting you because I am impressed by the quality of your products and have relatives who live nearby who would be able to house me.
Why don't you read the rest of that? That's interesting. She goes on as if it's not too personal. That next paragraph.
Okay, so the next one is, in my 2 years at École Buell, I have completed a great deal of coursework in event, exhibit, installation, design, and upholster.
Oh.
I've already learned to make pillows and blankets with various types of fabric, including velvet and a stool and rocking chair from scratch. I've also worked with traditional and modern ways of upholstery. During my first year, I earned a certificate of professional competence in upholstery sewing. In addition, during my free time, I have worked on reupholstering an old chair with a variety of personal products using sewing, embroidery, and tufting. In my first year, I completed a 2-week internship at Maison Lesage in the embroidery department. That experience taught me how to work as a team and advance my embroidery skills to master intricate techniques such as the crochet, luneville, and embroidering with jewels.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, you guys, because we don't have programs like that over here. We don't have that type of program. I could tell you, I might come the closest to offering at some point, not now, to something like that. But that's really intense. I'm kicking myself that I know I can't do this. So a lot of people, she's got the commitment on her end. It has to be a equal commitment on my end. And I know that I couldn't deliver right now. So, but if you guys have ideas, if anybody out there, this would be somebody looking for a 3-month situation in the Boston area. She would have her own housing. I could tell you that when I was teaching in Arlington, and I had 12 people in my shop at once, we have a French school in Arlington. And there's a lot of French settled in the area. They came to Boston for jobs or what have you. And I had about 3 or 4 French ladies in the class, and they were not English speakers. And their first, this is funny. I don't speak French, even though I was born on Bastille Day. I still don't. That doesn't mean I can speak French. That's for sure. But when they first came in, they said, in very broken English, we want to learn upholstery and English. And I said, I don't know about the English because this is a real Boston guy you got here. But what was funny was they told me by the end of the 8-week semester that they had learned more in my class with the other people too than they did in their English as a second language class. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But so if you guys want, you can get a hold of me. You know how to get a hold of me or Patrick. And if you have any ideas for her, I do want to help her. I want to send her to a good situation. And if you guys have that situation, just let us know, and we'll pass it on, the recommendation. Okay, so what's the next one?
All right. Next one, I think, if you scroll down to January 9th, be Brittany.
Okay. So refresh on some cushions, huh? Why don't you read it? Oh, by the way, I will say this. You don't have to read the whole thing, but we had to, a lot of times when we get these inquiries, we get a picture of a sofa and it says an estimate. Sometimes you have to weed out exactly what somebody wants. In this case, she just wanted new, it's kind of odd. She just wanted new cushions. She didn't want to do the body of the sofa. So she wanted us to make cushion covers and also new filling. But we had to kind of weed that out. So just looking at the strand, how many messages did we have total up to this point on her? About 7 or 8 or something?
6.
6. Take some time. Okay, so why don't you read from when we weeded everything out and we got to what she wanted.
Okay, so we gave her an estimate for the whole couch, which she then replied, "Thanks for getting back to me so quickly. I should have clarified to say the cushions only, the stuffing and the reupholstering. As you can see, the rest of it is in much better condition." So she only wants the fabric on the cushions, like Kevin said, and the new stuffing for the cushions.
So we weeded that out, and so she's into it though. Do you want to read what we get quoted her out? Let me just show the picture of the sofa. That's the sofa. Definitely needs new cushion. You can see that, you guys. So you want to read that?
Yes, so I responded with, okay, so in that case, labor would be $150 per cushion. If you want to go with basic ultra foam, then the cost for all new cushions would be $900. If you want the premium spring and down feather, it would cost $2,600 total for new cushions. Also, you would need 12 yards of fabric.
So there's a lot of information there. Has she gotten back to you?
Not yet.
So
that was just this morning though.
So there's a lot of variables. I'm sure she's going to get back and ask those, more specific questions. She might not understand all of that, So that's the best we can do for now on her. Okay. So what's the next one?
All right.
Abigail? No, that's not it. Allison?
Yeah, we can do that. All right.
Oh, wait a minute now. She's Allison might even be on the comments. She's a student. And actually, this is worth showing. Actually, you guys, she's having a problem with the cuts. She's not in the cuts around the arm. She's just successful in the Y cut, so she's seen my videos, right? So I talked to her a little bit. I'm not sure if she's on there now, Patrick Allison. But the problem she's having is the puckering around the arm. So it looks like she's got a solid enough fabric that she should overcome that. And I was talking to her about sometimes you focus so much on the cut, and so she's about to make a mistake here where she's going to overcut. Sometimes it's that the problem isn't right at where you're cutting. So the problem here could be that she doesn't have it pulled tighter this way. She's got everything. She's done everything the way I that she's probably seen my YouTube videos or the online class. I can't remember which, except she needs to project back this way. She can to test it. She can take and run her hand this way to see if the pucker goes away. If it doesn't go away, she can run her hand this way to see if it goes away. If it goes away either way or both ways, it means she has to be tighter in these areas. And if it means undoing that pleat, undo that back pleat. And she's lucky because if you could see the The post on the back is a pointed post to the cut, so she only needs one cut in the back. So it wouldn't be a big deal to roll this pleat a little bit more to get it to to get those puckers out. Now, if worse comes to worse on a lightweight fabric, sometimes we have to run a double piping around here to pull it tighter and to make it look better. Now, when you do that, you don't have to glue in this area. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is make a double piping long enough so that you can, staple it here, pull it around like this. You can glue up to this point, and then pull it. Don't glue it. Pull it, but make sure it's flipped up the right way, and then start gluing down this way. That's how you overcome that. I mean, ideally, you see how that looks really nice. It's just kind of floating there. The arm is just kind of floating there, almost magically from the fabric. So that's a desired look without the puckers for sure. She wants to try to do it without the puckers. That's my advice. Okay, do you want to go on to the next one? Is there a next one?
No, that's it.
Okay.
All the other, I think we've read a while ago.
Oh, we did get an inquiry. We get some really interesting emails lately. Do you want to read the upholstery craft? This is a competitor, but a new and unique tool for your work. Did you see that, Michaela?
The upholstery craft.
Speaking of Sweden.
You sure it's not a spam email?
No, it isn't.
This one actually has, an address, the name of what they are, a cell phone number, and everything.
So maybe
unlike, actual spam that we get that says, "Oh, I am the head of whatever company," but they don't actually make anything look legit.
So you don't think this is legitimate?
No, I do. I'm saying this does look legit compared to things that we get of something similar.
Yeah. I have to
But
say it looks like a pretty good product.
do you want me to read the whole thing? And it's quite long.
Yeah, I guess it is. No mind.
Put anybody to sleep.
That's right. So what else? What other business, Patrick, do we have that we need?
I think we're pretty much caught up. Just to look for those new classes in the next couple of weeks.
I did want to mention. Oh, go ahead, Patrick. Finish up. What did you say?
The next set of classes in the next couple of weeks, and then tons of videos coming up. We've just been a little slow here during the new year, but we're going to be taking off of those videos soon. We already have them filmed, so.
Oh, that's good. Tons coming up, you guys. So Randy says, Kevin, what do you get for a basic dining room slip seat? So I get. Now I've gone up. It used to be $75 for just a reupholstered slip seat. You say that just because we're so used to doing it, right, guys? But the thing about slip seats is, for a beginner, they're a hard thing to do because they move on you, and you can't clamp them down and do it. And if you're doing it properly with the stretching and everything, it takes a little time just a recovery. So I'm up to $90 for just a basic reupholstery and then if it needs restoration, any type of webbing work, it can be $125, and that's just for a slip seat, and that's all you're asking, right? Yeah, basic dining room slip seat. So, you have dining room for all you guys. Randy knows, but you have upholstered dining room chairs, which are more. Those could be like $175. You have boxed seats, which look like a slip seat, only they have two weltings. A slip seat could have one welting on the bottom, but box seats have two. They look like a box cushion. Those are a little bit more pricey. Those are like $150. And then you have dining room chairs with upholstered backs. With some of them have arms. Some Parson chairs, forget about it. You never on a Parson chair can get enough money to make a profit. Parson chairs are so difficult to do. So there's all different types of chairs, and I think we're caught up with that. Right, Patrick?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we've done good.
Yeah. So, I apologize. Sometimes I think I feel as though I forget to address certain things, and I do want to apologize. Sometimes the visual aids that we get, it's not like being there, obviously. Being there is the best thing. So I apologize if I can't be to the point exactly. But keep digging, you guys. If I don't hit it right, you can just like Daphne did, ask follow-up questions, especially during these live shows. And we're a good community. I just want to thank people for being a polite and I think a helpful community to one another. I love the forum. Allison just joined. That she didn't know. She was an example of somebody that watches our YouTube videos, Patrick, and she knows us from other areas. She's local, but she didn't know about the Facebook, which I think is one of our proudest things that we do, because it's people helping one another. And we have Jimmy. He's still doing a good job doing the administration on that, Patrick, on the Facebook.
Yeah, he's doing good, and a lot of people have joined lately, so it's really encouraging.
Yeah,
more than usual. I'm seeing at least a couple a day now, so that's good.
I mean, it's a great source. Hopefully for our French intern, who's a real study in upholstery, maybe she could find a situation through the forum. So let us know if you guys are interested in something like that. And what else? Any other business, Patrick? Are we all set?
I think that's it. I think we're all caught up.
Okay, great. Well, we'll see you next week, you guys. Hopefully, I think I'm going to ask: Is Jimmy on there or no?
No, he's not. But you get him next week.
I think
Everyone's
he's mad at
everyone's
you,
looking
Patrick.
for him.
I think he's mad at us.
No.
Well, he's got that.
Unless you did something to him.
I didn't do anything
know
to him. You can't do anything to Jimmy. He's like Teflon.
Get him back next week.
Yeah, I have to ask him. So if you guys want to see Jimmy, let us know. All right. Well, thanks a lot, you guys, and we'll see you.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Bye.